My hand shook as the men in black suits stood in front of the cafe door. "He wants to talk to you," the tall man said, pointing to the corner table where he sat. "Nikolai Volkov, the Wolf of Brighton Beach, the most dangerous man in New York." My heart beat really hard against my chest. How did he find me? It had been 3 days since I made the biggest mistake of my life. I spoke Russian to that old man at the store, not knowing Nikolai was standing just a few feet away. Now he was here at the cafe where I work, looking at me like I was a mystery he needed to figure out. I need to work," I said nervously. He stood up and everyone in the cafe stopped moving. His cold gray eyes looked right through me. "You will work," he said, his Russian accent making my skin tingle. "For me. If you want to find out how a simple waitress ended up being watched by the city's most dangerous man, subscribe now and leave a comment telling me what state you're watching from. Trust me, this story got way more exciting than I ever thought it would." Everything started 3 days earlier on a normal Tuesday morning. I was at the Russian store on Brighton Beach Avenue, buying the cheapest food I could find for the week. My waitress paycheck barely paid rent for the tiny Sheepshead Bay apartment I shared with Leo, my 4-year-old son. Nobody knew about Leo. Not my boss at the cafe, not my landlord, nobody. In New York, single mothers were problems. We got fired first, kicked out first, forgotten first. I was looking at potato prices when I heard him. An old man, maybe 70, struggling with the young cashier who clearly didn't speak Russian. He was getting upset, his wrinkled hands shaking as he tried to explain he needed his medicine picked up from the pharmacy next door, but didn't have anyone to watch his groceries. My parents had taught me to help our people. Even though they'd been gone for 5 years. A car accident that left me completely alone. Their voices still played in my head. Without thinking, I stepped forward. "Potsaliста ya mogu pomok," I said softly in Russian. "Please, I can help." The old man's face brightened. "Ty govorish po-ruski? You speak Russian?" "Duh." I smiled. And for the next 5 minutes I helped him talk with the cashier, explained his problem, and even offered to watch his cart while he ran next door. I didn't notice the 3 men in expensive black suits standing by the fruit section. I didn't notice how every worker in that store had gone quiet. I didn't notice the way the air itself seemed to change, charged, dangerous, like before a lightning strike. Not until I turned around and saw him. Nikolai Volkov stood 10 feet away, a basket of groceries in his hand like he was a normal person. But nothing about him was normal. He was tall, maybe 6 feet 3 inches, with dark hair styled perfectly, a jawline that could cut glass, and those eyes, cold gray eyes that looked like a Siberian winter. He wore dark jeans and a black sweater that probably cost more than my whole year's rent, and a watch that shined gold on his wrist. Everyone in Brighton Beach knew his face. Wolf. The man who controlled everything from the docks to the restaurants, from construction to who knows what else. The man you never ever looked directly at. But I had. And worse, I'd spoken Russian right in front of him. Our eyes met for maybe 3 seconds. His face didn't change, but something flickered in those cold eyes. Surprise. Interest? I couldn't tell. I grabbed my bag and almost ran out of that store. Stupid Maya. So stupid, I said to myself on the subway ride home, my heart still racing. Russian immigrants kept our heads down. We didn't draw attention. We especially didn't speak Russian in public where people like Nikolai Volkov could hear. Hoped, that would be the end of it. I was wrong. The next day, Wednesday, I worked my morning shift at Polly's Cafe in Midtown. It was a normal day. Rude businessmen, impatient tourists, my feet hurting by 2 p.m. I was cleaning table 7 when I felt it. Eyes on me. I looked up. A black SUV was parked across the street. Dark windows just sitting there. My stomach dropped. No, it couldn't be. I finished my shift, took the subway home, picked up Leo from Mrs. Chen's apartment, my elderly neighbor who watched him for cheap, and tried to tell myself I was being paranoid. Thursday the SUV was back. Different spot, same car, watching the cafe. By Friday morning today I was a mess. I barely slept. Every shadow looked like a danger. Leo asked why I kept checking the window and I lied with a smile I didn't feel. Then during my lunch shift they walked in. 4 men in black suits moving like soldiers. The cafe went quiet. Polly, my boss, turned pale. And that's when I saw him walk in behind them. Nikolai Volkov in a 3-piece gray suit that probably cost more than a car, looking completely out of place in our cheap cafe with its cracked plastic booths and coffee stains on the counter. He sat down in the corner booth. Didn't order. Just sat there watching me with those wolf eyes. My hand shook so badly I nearly dropped a tray of drinks. Maya, Polly whispered, grabbing my arm. That's Nikolai Volkov. What the heck did you do? Nothing. I didn't. Go talk to him before he burns this place down. My legs felt like water as I walked over. Up close he was even more scary. Broad shoulders, strong hands folded on the table, a small scar above his left eyebrow. He smelled like expensive cologne and danger. Can I get you anything? My voice came out barely above a whisper. He studied me for a long moment. Sit. I'm working. I can't. Not a request. I sat, my heart trying to escape my chest. What's your name? He asked in English, though his accent was thick. Waya Collins. Collins. He said it slowly like he was tasting it. But you speak Russian perfectly. My parents were immigrants from Moscow. They passed away. Something changed in his face, almost impossible to see, but I saw it. I'm sorry. I blinked. Sorry, from the Wolf of Brighton Beach? You helped Boris Petrov at the store, he continued. The old man. He is important to me. I was just being kind. Kindness is rare. He leaned forward slightly and I caught the full power of those gray eyes. Especially kindness in Russian from an American girl who tries very hard to hide who she is. My blood ran cold. How much did he know? I need someone, he said. Someone who speaks both languages perfectly. Someone I can trust around my home, my business partners. Someone who understands Russian culture. I'm just a waitress. You will work for me in my home as a personal assistant, translator, whatever I need. I can't. I almost said it, almost mentioned Leo. I swallowed the words just in time. I have this job. His eyes flickered with something that might have been amusement. I will pay you $10,000 per month. I choked on air. What? Plus housing in my estate. You will live there. No, I can't. He stood up and I automatically stood too, my chair scraping back. He was so tall I had to stretch my neck to look at him. He pulled out a business card, placed it on the table. You have until tomorrow morning to decide, Maya Collins. My driver will be outside your building at 8 a.m. Sheepshead Bay, correct? The blue building on Shore Parkway. My blood turned to ice. He knew where I lived. If you don't come, I will assume you have something to hide. And I don't like mysteries. He leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a whisper that somehow felt more dangerous than a shout. I always solve mysteries. Then he was gone, his men following him like shadows, leaving me standing there shaking. Polly rushed over. What did he say? I stared at the business card. Heavy, expensive paper. Just a phone number printed in gold. He offered me a job, I whispered. But Nikolai Volkov didn't know. What he couldn't know was that I wasn't just hiding my Russian background. I was hiding my son. And if he found out about Leo, I had no idea what a man like him would do. I lay in my small bed, listening to Leo's soft breathing from his crib across the room, staring at that business card until my eyes burned. $10,000 a month. That was more money than I'd made in the entire last year. Money for Leo's preschool, money for better food, warm clothes, maybe even a real apartment with 2 bedrooms. But living in Nikolai Volkov's house, being under his watch all the time, how could I hide Leo then? At 3 a.m. I made my decision. I had to risk it. Mrs. Chin had agreed to watch Leo full-time for $500 a week. A fortune to her, a bargain for me. I'd tell Nikolai I had an elderly aunt I visited on weekends. To make it work, I had to. Because the other choice was watching my son grow up in poverty, eating cereal for dinner, wearing old clothes with holes. At 7:45 a.m. I stood outside my building in my only nice outfit. A black dress I'd bought at Goodwill, with a small suitcase containing everything I owned. At exactly 8 a.m., a black Mercedes pulled up. A man in a suit got out. Not Nikolai, one of his men. Miss Collins. I'm Dmitri. I'll be driving you. The car smelled like leather and money. I'd never been in anything so nice. We drove through Brooklyn, over the bridge and into Manhattan. But we didn't stop there. We kept going north until we reached a gated estate in Westchester County. My jaw dropped. The property was huge. A stone mansion that looked like it belonged in Europe, surrounded by perfect gardens, fountains, and enough security cameras to watch a small country. Armed guards stood at the gates. Welcome to your new home, Dmitri said. Home? This palace was going to be my home. And my prison. Inside was even more amazing. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, artwork that probably cost millions. An older Russian woman in a simple dress walked up to me, her face kind but weathered. "Why, I'm Irina. I run the household. Mr. Volkov is in a meeting, but he asked me to show you your room." My room turned out to be a bedroom suite larger than my entire apartment. Private bathroom with a tub that could fit 3 people, a walk-in closet, windows overlooking gardens that seemed to go on forever. This is too much," I whispered. Irina smiled sadly. "You'll learn that Mr. Volkov does nothing halfway. He'll want to see you at dinner. 7 p.m. sharp. Don't be late." The day crawled by. Irina gave me a tour. I got lost twice. The estate had a gym, a pool, a library with books in Russian and English, a room just for wine. I counted at least 15 security people. I called Mrs. Chin 3 times to check on Leo. Each time she promised me he was fine, playing with toys, asking when Mama would visit. "Tomorrow," I promised him on our video call, my heart breaking. "Mama will see you tomorrow, baby." At 6:55 p.m. I stood outside the dining room in the same black dress, my hands sweating. Dmitri opened the door. "He's waiting." The dining room was small, just one long table, and Nikolai sat at the head of it. He changed from his suit into dark pants and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, showing strong forearms. He looked up from his phone when I entered. "Why, sit." I took the chair to his right, the only other place set. A real feast covered the table. Russian dishes I remembered from my childhood. Borscht, pelmeni, beef stroganoff, blini. "You cooked all this?" I asked before I could stop myself. A hint of a smile. "Irina did. I told her to prepare everything your mother might have made." My throat tightened. How did he know what my mother cooked? As if reading my mind, he said, "I looked into your background. Anya and Dmitry Volkova immigrated in 1998, died in a car accident 5 years ago. You've been alone since then, working 3 jobs at one point. You investigated me. It wasn't a question. I investigate everyone who enters my life. You're clean. No criminal record. No debts beyond student loans you can't pay. No connections to any organizations." He poured wine into both our glasses. "Almost too clean." My heart skipped. Did he suspect? "Eat," he commanded. "You're too thin." We ate in silence for a few minutes. The food was amazing. It tasted exactly like home, like my mother's cooking, and I hated how it made my eyes burn with tears. "Why did you really offer me this job?" finally asked. "You could hire any Russian speaker in New York." Nikolai set down his fork, studying me with those powerful gray eyes. "Boris Petrov, the old man you helped, was my father's closest friend. After my father died, Boris helped raise me. He called me that day, told me about the kind American girl who spoke perfect Russian, who treated him with respect." He paused, taking a sip of wine. "In my world, Maya, real kindness doesn't exist. Everyone wants something. Everyone has an angle. But you helped an old man expecting nothing in return. That interested me. So this is a test to see if I'm real." "Everything is a test." His voice dropped lower. "But I also need someone I can trust. Someone who understands both worlds, Russian and American. Someone who can translate not just words but meaning, context, culture. And you think that's me after watching me for 3 days? I think you're smart enough to be scared of me but desperate enough to be here anyway. That honesty is useful." Before I could respond, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his whole mood changed. The calm, almost pleasant man vanished, replaced by something cold and deadly. "Dmitri," he barked. The door opened instantly. Had Dmitri been waiting outside? "We have a situation. Victor's men hit the warehouse in Red Hook." "How bad?" Dmitri's face was stone. 3 of ours dead. They took the shipment." The air felt electric with violence. Nikolai stood, buttoning his cuffs with controlled anger. "Get the cars. Full security detail. I want." Suddenly the lights went out. Complete darkness. Then I heard it. Gunfire. Far away but getting closer. Shouting in Russian. More shots now inside the house. "Down!" Nikolai yelled. A hand grabbed my arm, yanked me to the floor. In the darkness I couldn't see anything, but I felt him. Nikolai's body covering mine, protecting me as glass broke somewhere nearby. They followed you here, someone yelled. They knew she'd. An explosion shook the house. I screamed. Nikolai's arms tightened around me and I heard his voice against my ear, deadly calm despite the chaos. Stay with me. Do exactly what I say and you'll live. More gunfire. Closer now, much closer. And all I could think was, Leo. I need to survive for Leo. The emergency lights came on, making everything red. Nikolai pulled me to my feet, his grip super strong on my wrist. Dmitri, get her to the safe room now. No. Dmitri was reloading a gun I hadn't even seen him pull out. They broke into the east wing. Safe room is taken over. We need to move her to the garage. Get her out. Another burst of gunfire. Pose. I could hear men shouting in Russian. Not Nikolai's men. Others. Volov, we know you have the girl. A voice echoed through the halls. Send her out and maybe we let you live. My blood turned to ice. They came here for me. Nikolai's jaw clenched. He pulled a gun from a hidden holder at his back, checked it like he'd done it 1,000 times. Over my dead body. That can be arranged, the voice called back, followed by mean laughter. Nikolai looked at me and for a split second I saw something I never expected in those cold eyes. Concern. Real genuine concern. Can you run in those shoes? I kicked off my heels. Yes. Good. Stay behind me. Don't stop. Don't look back. He glanced at Dmitri. Call everyone. I want every man we have here in 10 minutes. And get Anton to figure out how the heck they found this location. We moved through the mansion like shadows. Nikolai led, gun raised, every movement exact and controlled. Dmitri covered our backs. The sounds of fighting echoed through the halls. Shouts, gunshots, breaking glass. We reached a hallway near the kitchen when 3 men in black tactical gear came around the corner. Everything happened so fast. Nikolai shoved me against the wall, his body a shield. 2 shots fired from his gun. Both men dropped. The third raised his weapon, but Dmitri was faster. 1 shot. The man fell. Keep moving, Nikolai commanded. My hands were shaking. I'd never seen anyone killed before. Never seen death up close like this. But there was no time to process. No time to break down. Nikolai's hand was on my back, pushing me forward. We burst through a service door into a garage that held at least 8 expensive cars. Nikolai dragged me toward a black SUV, yanked the door open. Get in. Middle seat. Stay down. I scrambled in. He slid in beside me and Dmitri jumped into the driver's seat. The engine roared to life. They'll have the main gates covered, Dmitri said. Service exit northwest corner. Nikolai was texting really fast on his phone, organizing something. Yuri's team is 2 minutes out. Victor's getting bold. This was a message. What message? I whispered, my voice shaking. Nikolai's eyes met mine. That he'll burn everything I have to get what he wants. But why me? I'm nobody. You're mine now. That makes you somebody. He said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Victor Katz is my oldest enemy. If he thinks you matter to me, you're a target. But I don't matter to you. I've worked for you for 1 day. The SUV crashed through a wooden gate. I heard shouting behind us. More gunfire hitting the armored car. Nikolai's hand suddenly held my face, forcing me to look at him. His eyes were intense, burning. Listen to me very carefully, Maya. In my world, what people think is reality. Victor thinks you're important. That means you are important. And that means I will protect you with everything I have. Do you understand? I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. His thumb brushed my cheek, surprisingly gentle for a man who just killed 2 people without stopping. Do you understand? He repeated, softer this time. Yes, I whispered. Good. He released me, turned back to his phone. Dmitri, take us to the city safe house. The one in Tribeca. We drove in tense silence for 20 minutes. My mind was racing. This was crazy. I'd gotten caught up in a war between Mafia families because I spoke Russian to an old man. Because I was kind. And Leo. Oh God, Leo. If these people found out about him, sir, Dmitri's voice cut through my panic. We have a tail. 2 cars. Victor's men. Nikolai didn't even look up from his phone. Lose them. What happened next felt like something from an action movie. Dmitri drove like a demon, weaving through traffic, running red lights, taking turns that made the SUV tilt dangerously. I gripped the seat, my knuckles white. The chasing cars stayed on us. One pulled up alongside and I saw a man lean out the window with a gun. Down. Nikolai pulled me against him, covering my body with his as bullets shattered the back window. Glass rained over us. The SUV swerved hard. I was pressed against Nikolai's chest, could feel his heart beating. Steady, controlled, not afraid at all. His arms were around me, protective, possessive. Dmitri. His voice was deadly calm. End this. Dmitri slammed on the brakes. The chasing car shot past us. Then Dmitri sped up, ramming the second car from behind. Metal crunched. The other car spun out, crashed into a parked truck. The first car tried to turn around, but suddenly two black SUVs appeared from a side street. Nikolai's backup. They boxed in Victor's men. Go, Nikolai ordered and Dmitri drove. 10 minutes later we pulled into an underground parking garage in Tribeca. High-end building, the kind where apartments cost millions. Armed men were already waiting. Nikolai finally released me. You're safe now. I was trembling, adrenaline crashing through my body. Safe? They just shot at us. They attacked your house. How is any of this safe? He got out of the SUV, then reached back to help me out. My bare feet touched cold concrete. I'd lost my shoes somewhere in the chaos. Because now I know Victor wants you, which means you stay close to me always. He pulled off his suit jacket, put it around my shoulders. It swallowed me, but it was warm and smelled like him. Cologne and gunpowder. Come, let's get you inside. The penthouse was smaller than the estate but still fancy. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Modern furniture. Everything in blacks and grays and steel. There's a bedroom through there, Nikolai pointed. Bathroom. Irina had clothes sent over in your size. Get cleaned up. We need to talk. I looked down at myself. I was covered in tiny cuts from the broken glass, my dress torn, blood on my hands, though I didn't know if it was mine or someone else's. I need to make a call, I said suddenly. Please. Just one call. His eyes narrowed. To who? My friend. She'll worry if she doesn't hear from me. It wasn't entirely a lie. Mrs. Chin would worry. But really I needed to hear Leo's voice. Needed to know he was okay. Nikolai studied me for a long moment. Use my phone. I'll know who you call. Of course he would. I took his phone with shaking hands, went into the bedroom and called Mrs. Chin. Hello. Her elderly voice answered. Mrs. Chin, it's Maya. Is everything okay? I tried to keep my voice steady. Oh, Maya. Yes. Little Leo is sleeping now. Such a good boy. He ate all his dinner. We played games. Don't worry. Relief flooded through me so strongly I almost collapsed. Thank you. I'll come see him soon. Please don't tell anyone where he is. Don't let anyone come to your apartment. It's very important. Of course, dear. You okay? You sound upset. I'm fine. Just keep him safe. I have to go. I hung up and turned to find Nikolai standing in the doorway. My heart stopped. Had he heard? Your friend, he said carefully. She must be very important. She is. He walked closer. We were alone now. Dmitri and the others outside. Just Nikolai and me in this bedroom. And suddenly I was very aware of how he looked. Shirt torn, a cut above his eyebrow bleeding slightly, his eyes still burning with leftover adrenaline. You're bleeding, I whispered. So are you. He reached out, gently turning my arm to show a long cut I hadn't noticed. His fingers on my skin sent electricity through me. This was wrong. He was dangerous. A killer, a criminal. But he'd protected me. Put his body between me and bullets. Why did you do it? I asked. You could have left me. Let them take me. No. His voice was rough. I couldn't. Why? He looked at me like I was asking why he breathed. Because you're mine, Maya. I claimed you when I brought you into my world and I protect what's mine. His hand moved from my arm to my face, holding my jaw. His thumb traced my lower lip. My breath caught. This is crazy, I whispered. I don't even know you. You know I killed for you today. You know I would kill 1,000 more to keep you safe. What else do you need to know? He leaned closer. I should have pulled away. Should have run. But I was frozen, caught in those gray eyes that suddenly didn't look cold at all. They looked hot, burning, alive. Nikolai, say it again, he murmured. My name. Say it again. Nikolai. And then he kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was consuming, possessive, desperate. His hands tangled in my hair, pulling me against him. I kissed him back. God help me, I kissed him back like I was drowning and he was air. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he pressed his forehead against mine. "You're going to ruin me," he whispered in Russian. "I can feel it." "I don't understand," I said in the same language. "You will." He pulled back, his controls sliding back into place like armor. "Get some rest. Tomorrow we deal with Victor. Tonight you're safe." He left, closing the door softly behind him. I sank onto the bed, touching my lips, my mind spinning. What had I gotten myself into? And how was I going to protect Leo from this dangerous, beautiful, terrifying man who had just claimed me as his? I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw guns, blood, Nikolai's eyes as he kissed me. I was in too deep, drowning in a world I didn't understand. By morning I'd made a decision. I had to tell him about Leo before he found out on his own. Because if there's one thing I'd learned about Nikolai Volkov, it's that he hated secrets. I found him in the living room, standing by the windows in fresh clothes. Black pants, black shirt, looking out at the city. He didn't turn when I entered, but he knew I was there. "Did you sleep?" he asked. "No. Neither did I." He finally turned and there was something different in his face. Less guarded. "Come. We need to talk." We sat on the leather couch. He poured coffee from a pot that had been waiting. "Had he known I'd wake up early?" "My men secured the estate," he began. 5 of Victor's soldiers dead, 2 captured. We lost 1 man. Victor sent 20 men to attack my home, Maya. 20. That's not a warning. That's a war announcement. Because of me. Because he's been looking for an excuse for years. You just gave him one. He took a sip of coffee. "This changes things. You can't go back to your old life. It's not safe. You'll stay with me, under my protection always." My stomach twisted. "For how long?" "Until Victor is dead. Which, given what he did yesterday, will be soon." "You're going to kill him?" "Yes." No hesitation, no apology, just cold fact. I set down my coffee cup with shaking hands. "Nikolai, I need to tell you something before this goes any further." Before, I couldn't finish. His eyes sharpened. "What?" This was it. The moment that would either save me or destroy everything. "I have a son." The silence that followed was deafening. Nikolai's face went completely blank. That terrifying emptiness that meant his mind was working, thinking, reassessing. "A son," he repeated slowly. "His name is Leo. He's 4 years old. He's with a neighbor in Brooklyn. That's who I called last night. That's my secret." Tears burned my eyes. "Please don't hurt him. Whatever you do to me, please don't. Stop." His voice was sharp. He stood up, paced away, ran a hand through his hair. "You have a child. A 4-year-old child. And you didn't think to mention this." "I was afraid. I thought if you knew you'd." He spun around and now I saw anger. Real anger. "Think you're unreliable? Fire you? Hurt your son?" He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "What kind of monster do you think I am? You're the head of the Russian Mafia. You killed 3 men yesterday. How am I supposed to know? I don't hurt children." His voice boomed through the apartment. "Never. That is the one line I will never cross. Children are sacred." I was crying now. Couldn't stop. I'm sorry. I've been alone so long. Protecting him is all I know how to do." Nikolai's anger seemed to shrink. He sat back down, but further away now, processing. "The father. Gone. Left when I was pregnant. I don't even know where he is. And this neighbor. You trust her?" "Mrs. Chin?" "Yes. She's watched him since he was a baby. She knows about me." "About yesterday?" "No. I just told her to keep him safe. Not let anyone in." He was quiet for a long time, thinking. "Then, where is he?" "Exact address." "Why?" "Because if Victor finds out about him before I secure him, your son is dead. Do you understand? You're a target now, which makes him a target." Horror washed over me. I hadn't even thought of that. Oh God. "Address. Now." I gave it to him. He immediately pulled out his phone, made a call in fast Russian. I caught words. 4-year-old, highest priority, bring him here. What are you doing? I stood up, panicking. He hung up. I'm bringing your son here. Under my protection. With you. You can't just. I can and I am. Maya, listen to me. He grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at him. Victor has eyes everywhere. If he discovers you have a child, he will use him as leverage. He will hurt him to hurt you to hurt me. The only safe place for your son is here. With us. This is insane. He's 4. I can't expose him to... What? Security? Safety? 3 meals a day? A mother who doesn't have to work 3 jobs. His voice softened. Or would you rather he stay in a building with no security, with an old woman who can't protect him if Victor's men come knocking? I sank back onto the couch, my head in my hands. He was right. God help me, he was right. They'll be here in 30 minutes, Nikolai said. Dmitri and 2 others. They'll make sure the neighbor is paid well for her silence. Your son will be safe, Maya. I promise you that. Why? I looked up at him through tears. Why would you do this? He's not your responsibility. Something crossed his face. Something vulnerable and raw. My father died when I was 8. He was killed by a rival family. I watched my mother struggle for years, terrified every day that they'd come back for me. I know what it's like to be a child living in fear. He crouched in front of me, taking my hands in his. Your son will never know that fear. Not while I breathe. This I promise you. And I believed him. This dangerous, violent man who'd killed without hesitation. I believed he would protect Leo with his life. The 30 minutes felt like hours. I paced. I cried. I called Mrs. Chin to warn her that friends were coming to pick up Leo. She was confused but agreed. When the door finally opened and Dmitri walked in carrying a sleepy Leo in his arms, my heart stopped. Mama. Leo's little voice was confused. Where are we? I ran to him, took him from Dmitri, held him so tight he protested. It's okay, baby. It's okay. Mama's here. Nikolai stood frozen, staring at Leo with a look I couldn't read. My son looked at him with wide, curious eyes. Who's that? Leo asked. That's... I hesitated. That's Nikolai. He's Mama's friend. We're going to stay with him for a little while. Like a sleepover? Yes, sweetheart. Like a sleepover. Leo, with the toughness of children, accepted this immediately. Hey, I'm hungry. Can we have pancakes? Despite everything, I laughed. Yes, baby. We can have pancakes. Nikolai finally moved, came closer. He knelt down to Leo's level, his dangerous face softening in a way I'd never seen. Hello, Leo. I'm Nikolai. Do you like pancakes? Leo nodded shyly. Then we'll make the best pancakes you've ever had. Deal. Deal. Leo smiled and something in my chest cracked open. As Nikolai stood and walked toward the kitchen, calling for someone to bring ingredients, I realized the truth. This terrifying, powerful man had just made a promise to protect my son. And somehow I knew he'd die before he broke it. But what scared me most was how right it felt. How natural. How much I wanted to believe in this impossible future he was offering. Leo tugged my sleeve. Mama, I like him. He's nice. If only my son knew the truth. Nikolai Volkov wasn't nice. He was a killer, a criminal, a wolf. But maybe, just maybe, he was our wolf now. I stand by the floor-to-ceiling windows of our bedroom, mine and Nikolai's, watching Leo play in the garden below. He's 7 now, tall for his age, laughing as he kicks a soccer ball with Dmitri. The estate has been rebuilt, even stronger than before. Victor Katz has been dead for 2 years. The war ended the way Nikolai promised it would, with his enemy in the ground. Strong arms wrap around me from behind. Nikolai's chin rests on my shoulder. What are you thinking? He murmurs in Russian, the language we use when we're alone. That 3 years ago, I was a waitress who couldn't afford groceries. Now I'm married to the most dangerous man in New York. Most dangerous? He turns me around, that rare smile on his face, the one only Leo and I ever see. I'm a teddy bear. I laugh. You killed 15 men last month. They tried to move drugs through my territory. What was I supposed to do? Ask nicely. He kisses my forehead, then my nose, then my lips. Besides, I'm reformed. A family man now. As if on cue, Leo's voice calls up, Papa, come play. Papa. Leo started calling him that 6 months after we moved in. Nikolai cried, actually cried, the first time. Adopted him legally a year later. Go. I pushed Nikolai toward the door. Your son needs you. Our son, he corrects, then pauses. Speaking of which. He places a hand on my still flat stomach. We just found out yesterday. I'm pregnant. 8 weeks. He doesn't know yet, I whisper. Tonight? We'll tell him tonight. He'll be excited to be a big brother. Or sister. I hope it's a girl. With your eyes. He kisses me again, deeper this time. I love you, Maya Vilova. My sunshine. My salvation. I love you too, my wolf. He leaves to play with Leo and I watch them through the window. This impossible family we've built. The mafia boss and the waitress. The protected and the protector. The wolf and his mate. It wasn't the life I planned. It wasn't the life I thought I wanted. But standing here watching my husband teach our son how to kick a ball, carrying his child, living in security and love and safety, I wouldn't change a single moment. Not the fear, not the danger, not the violence. Because it all led me here. To him. To us. To home. Thank you for listening to my story. From a cafe in New York to becoming the wife of the city's most powerful man, it's been the craziest journey of my life. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to believe in second chances. And leave a comment telling me, do you believe in destiny? Because I do now. I really do. Until next time, this is Maya Vilova reminding you that sometimes the most dangerous man in the world is exactly who you need.